Brad, just what's your reaction to Al Horford getting second team all defensive and Marcus Smart didn't get anything?
My reaction is I think those guys are motivated by team success, and I think their team success and their impact on team success and our defense speaks for itself. So I don't think they're going to lose sleep over an award or not. To me, they're easily both all defensive players. I thought Baines has an all defensive year as well. I realize you can't take multiple people from one team. Maybe that's the deal. But those guys all, and along with our young guys, everybody was really committed on that end of the floor all year, and it was led by those three guys.
I know you're contemplating, as you always do, changes to the starting lineup. How's it looking tonight?
Well, I'm done contemplating. I was done contemplating this morning. I actually got in this discussion on the radio show earlier about what if you already had made your decision or you're still contemplating, you just didn't want to say it. It probably was more I just didn't want to say it than I was contemplating.
Is that where you still are?
I'm in that mode of I've made the decision, but I'm not contemplating anymore.
Or saying if there will be a change.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to follow up on that.
I don't know how deep we can get here, Adam.
I'm just curious, your kind of change of philosophy on that. Like for example, last year in the playoffs, you came out and said, "Hey, I'm starting Gerald tonight," and we all did. Like, it seems like there's been some shift in revealing that.
Yeah, I don't think I knew the rules. Nobody told me the rules when I got here. You know, they just sent me out here to do the media sessions before every game. Nobody said I didn't have to say it. So, yeah, I guess I'm learning every day. And then still contemplating the rules.
So you were doing it because you thought you had to, basically.
Yeah.
In the past. Just real quickly on Al in general, what makes him a good defender?
Just awareness. His awareness is elite. He knows every action in the league that anybody would possibly run. He understands when it's the right time to give help, when it's not. You know, just watch, just simple things. Like when he and Baines are back in transition, they're back at the nail or the top of the key, and they are in a stance like this and taking up so much space. And just that idea of making the floor appear crowded to start a possession is enormous. And then being able to basically anchor and communicate our defense through the action while still usually guarding, you know, the best forward on the other team. I mean, it's really hard. And, you know, this year I think he took even more steps because, you know, last year we didn't try him on Giannis. We didn't try him on guys like Ben Simmons, you know, like This year, those have been his matchups, every other night because the league continues to get, quote, smaller, but just faster and more skilled at the four. And, and now so you go through the playoffs and you have to guard Giannis, Ben Simmons, Kevin Love. I mean, that's a monster. But there's a reason why he's all defensive team.
Coach, the second half of the Game 4, you guys were playing much better. Do you see that as a carryover to resume tonight?
I think every game's its own entity. I didn't think we played great the entire night. Obviously, the first quarter was poor, but the end of the first, end of the third really stood out as the times where we lost the game. And so that, to me, is, those are the two times. And we have to avoid those, big lulls like we had the other night. But we did some good things. I mean, it's been, obviously everybody talked about the shots at the rim, but Cleveland was at the rim on some of those shots. It's not like going up for a dunk with somebody else jumping is an easy thing. Like, some of those, yes, we'd like to have back and make them, but the other ones are contested. Maybe we kick them out. We just have to be more efficient offensively because a lot of those plays ended up in baskets the other way.
Brad, you've coached some high-profile rookies the last couple of years. Are there things you learned along the way, advice you received about how to keep guys fresh that went from a 30-game college season to, playing 75, 80 games for you?
Not specifically. I think it's more about, our assistant coaches that are assigned to those guys. And Micah Shrewsbury has spent a ton of time with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum over the last 2 years. Do everything they can to help expedite their learning curve. But it's not just that. It's everybody in the organization, our strength staff, our training staff, talking to them about the importance of diet, sleep, extra work in the weight room to keep your body feeling good, extra work on your pliability. And, these guys are really committed to that. They both take care of their bodies at a very good level. And I think the messaging has been good.
Coach, right now there's so much conversation about home court advantage. I want to know, even at Butler, what do you attribute to that? Just because people say it's the role players play better at home. What have you seen since being at Butler and then being in the NBA? What have you learned from that, and what do you see from that?
Well, I don't know what the stats are as far as like road and home records, over the course of all levels. But it's, there's a reason that you play for home court advantage. That being said, you've got to be able to win in any venue on any night. And, pretty obvious that we haven't been as good on the road. And when we get that opportunity on Friday, we need to play better. And that's the bottom line. And at the same time, we recognize that when you're at home, you better play well. Your focus still has to be between those lines.
Brad, Joe Guardng, Cleveland.com. I have two for you. The first one is the Cavs have 59 turnovers in 4 games. And, LeBron loves to throw crazy passes because he can, and Love likes to throw that home run ball. Is this team easier to bait into turnovers than other teams you play?
No, I wouldn't say that's ever a part of our discussion. We're trying to make it as hard as we can on those guys. The Love pass to LeBron was a joke. Not just the pass, but the catch was a joke. And it's funny because we went through the transition stuff and we're mad about our transition, and everybody's looking at me like, come on, like we went for the ball, we were there, we were in perfect position, and he jumped up and caught it. But I think that the one thing we're trying to do is we're trying to keep our shell intact and make it as hard as possible. And with that comes some disadvantages too, as have been talked about quite a bit. But I think the more that we can stay attached to everybody else and make it as tough as possible, the better.
And then the other one is, how is Kyrie? Not his health, but obviously he played for Cleveland for all this time, and now he's watching this series, and I don't think anybody's gotten a chance to talk to him from the media. So I'm just, where is his mind? Is he processing this okay? What has he shared with you?
In our sit downs, and I obviously see him regularly, but in our sit downs or just our casual conversation, he seems to be in a great place. You know, it's killing him not to be out on the floor. But I think that would be the case, obviously, anytime you're playing this deep into the playoffs, and especially in a new place. But, you know, other than that, his recovery's gone great, and we're excited about that. But he seems to be in a good place.
Brad, have you heard any more from the training staff about Shane, just where he might be for the rest of this series?
Shane is out tonight, and, you know, I'd say, like I said before, very doubtful for any portion of this series.
Brad, how do you balance defensively not overreacting to LeBron, but also knowing that you can't show him a steady diet of anything?
Well, I think that's the greatness of him, you know, and I think, you know, obviously I've been asked a lot about Terry being on him, and there were, you know, I think he scored 7 points with Terry on him in isolation. He scored 37 others. You know, I think that ultimately he's a tough guy to guard. You can't show him one look. You have to keep mixing it up. We're trying our best to keep everything in front of us, to play with active hands, to try to make sure that it's at least difficult. And then we got to be better on everybody else. You know, if you look at Game 3, everybody else had their biggest scoring game of the series. We were a little bit better in Game 4, but not as good as we need to be. And, you know, again, we're trying to make it as hard as we possibly can with a number of different guys, and it's one of the great strengths of our team. But, you know, he's a great player for a reason. And you know, hats off to him, but we're going to keep trying to make it hard. Thanks.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Certainly not getting up and taking a shower, going up, dress, go. No, I'll probably eat it. It's too early. I'll eat it though. Yeah. I'd like to eat now.
are open for questions. Start down front, Joe.
Hello. Just curious if in the course of this series, if you've run into Kyrie and what your conversations were like with him.
No, I haven't seen him. I mean, I saw him on the bench at the end, but I haven't ran into him, no.
Stay down front.
Ty, just wondering, games 3 and 4, what have you seen on film that has shown you that your defense is that much better than what it was in games 1 and 2?
I think being physical at all 5 positions, trying to keep a body on body. I think we've been doing a good job of trying to pressure Al Horford because he initiates a lot of their offense. And after the games 1 and 2, we stopped switching as much as we have in the past. So we're trying to keep the same matchups that we like so we don't switch and they take advantage of us in the post. So we're doing some good things.
Dave.
Ty, by the way that some of the playoff opponents you've had this postseason so far have not or elected not to double team LeBron James, do you think that they're trying to wear him down through extra usage, or how do you guys respond to that defensive strategy?
I don't know. He's a great passer, so, if you double team him, he's going to pick you apart. So, people have different philosophies. I know when I played here, our thing was make them score the basketball and try to take away everyone else, but I don't know. You got to pick your poison because, he can pick you apart. And with our shooting ability, if we're making threes, we're a tough team. So I don't know.
Ty, you put a particular emphasis on preventing turnovers in this game. Can you talk, without getting too deep or revealing too much, how do you prevent that, please?
Well, I think we got to just take away the careless turnovers. They're a good defensive team. Marcus Smart and those guys get a lot of deflections. He gets a lot of steals. So, we're going to have some turnovers, but we got to take away the ones where we can convert in transition or easy, simple plays that we got to convert and not have the silly turnovers.
Rachel.
Aside from just not getting in foul trouble, what's the key for Kevin to have a better Game 5 than he had Game 4?
I think just staying aggressive. I think if they're going to continue to switch, he has to play against the matchups, take his shots. And, foul trouble hurt him last game, but I thought he came in the fourth quarter and played well and got us over the hump. So he just has to stay aggressive and, take his shots, and we got to go to him in the post, and he has to deliver for us.
Back row right.
How much or to what degree do you think your roster's experience did benefit you, particularly against a young team in games 3 and 4? Do you think it was a lot?
I don't know. I mean, just going back home and our fans are great. We needed that support. And, the guys came back and they played well at home. So we got to try to carry that over to Game 5 here tonight and bring the same intensity, but just do a better job of taking care of the basketball. I think you can get away with it at home having 19 turnovers, but you can't get away with it on the road. So we got to do a better job of protecting the basketball.
Is there anything else for Coach Lue? All right, thank you.